Hi.
Good morning, Candace. How are you?
Hey, doing well. I don't know if we're
Good.
yet live, but I just wanted to say hi to fellow mom and see how you're doing.
Hi, we are live, but that's okay. A very real part of our lives is that
Yeah.
we're both new moms. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just came back from maternity leave last week and it's been awesome to like work my brain in a way that I really missed and talking about education and especially right now is like we're figuring out how to reopen our school and what that's going to look like. And
Yes.
also learning the ins and outs of like our family's new routines being a working parent, which I'm sure, I mean, you've been living for months.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, congratulations again. Yes,
Thanks.
it's definitely, when my son was first born, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to care about anything else ever again. Like,
Oh,
right? Like you were like,
showering was like the highlight of my day slash I was proud of myself if I could get a shower in by like 3 p.m. And I was like, how on earth will I be able to like think about work again?
yeah,
I'm just trying to get through the
education.
day.
Yeah, like equitable education for kids. Like how will that fit in my brain?
Yeah.
Well, Candace, thank you for being with us this morning and congratulations again. Like you mentioned, we are live and recording, and so just a heads up on that. Everyone, this is Candace Wilson. Candace, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Candace. I'm originally from the Wichita, Kansas area, and I got my start in education teaching high school English in Memphis, Tennessee, many moons ago. I loved teaching, but the particular school I was at, um, I would say, didn't always assume the best in our kids. I don't think we had the classes that really inspired our students. We really weren't talking with kids about what was happening after high school graduation. So when I moved back to Kansas City, I stumbled upon the Kauffman School and had some really good friends working at the school and just saw a team of adults where people unapologetically were talking about our kids' talents and passions and goals and getting them closer to that and like working alongside our kids and families. So I started working at the school over 7 years ago, and the bread and butter of my work is meeting educators who are considering their next steps in their career, learning what values they have, what interests they have, and really seeing if we have something to match their needs at our school. So excited to answer more about us today.
That is awesome. I can't wait to hear about all of the opportunities you all have going on. So I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen and we can just chat. So tell us about Kauffman Schools and kind of what's the culture like? What's your mission? All of those things.
Yeah, the good stuff. So we are an urban public charter school that founded over about 10 years ago. When we started our school, we started with just fifth grade, and any student in the Kansas City, Missouri school district boundaries can enroll at our school. We are free. We do use a lottery every spring to prioritize students living in the six highest need zip codes of Kansas City. So we are a school that continues to serve kids and families who are looking for a free, strong school choice. Those founding fifth graders who started with us, every year they grew up, we've built out a school for them, sixth, seventh, eighth grade. Now they are sophomores in college. So our founding class, 100% of kids were accepted to a 4 year college or university. The class below them has seen the same college acceptance. They are leading the charge and being our first alumni. Also, shout out to them entering college and figuring out how to do college virtually this year and just all of the ups and downs of this past year being new college students. We're also really proud because those first classes of students who've graduated with us, over 70% identify as first generation college students. So we talk all the time about making sure our kids and families know that college opportunities are accessible, they're on the table, especially if our kids want to potentially have opportunities that their parents didn't have or didn't have access to, or they want to shift the path in their families. Something that I think in this last year, I also want to highlight about our school and just the culture of what's happening is this past year has really pushed us as a community to think about what are the holistic needs of our kids and families during this time. So we have partnered with our vendor services, our bus drivers, food services, and have continued to provide breakfasts and lunches for not only kids at Kauffman School, but students throughout the community for the last year now. And on top of that, getting Chromebook resources and school supplies sent home to our students. And we truly would not have been able to do that without strong community partners, strong vendor partners, and our parent partners who've really reached out and said, here's what I need for my kid to be successful learning at home, and us really taking that and meeting that need. um, so that's a little bit about us, about where we are as a school right now. And we actually just welcomed a small group of students back on campus last week to pilot what does it look like to be back on campus before we hopefully make some decisions about next year and what that's going to look like next year.
Yeah, that what an interesting time, right? And by the way, I did decide to just throw the slideshow back up because I thought, hey, if someone jumps in the middle, they're not gonna know where you're like
Or
what
what we're
you're
talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm like,
No worries.
they're gonna need to know where Candace is from. Yeah, I mean, what an interesting time in our society, really, where things have reopened for a while, but schools is like this thing we can't really rush into, right? Like it has to be done right. It has to be done right.
Yeah. Can I say one other thing about that,
Yeah.
Susanna? I think when you asked about kind of culture of our school, it is one thing to support our kids in their academic journey, but it's another thing to understand what do our kids and families need holistically. And I think about how we have three full-time social workers who throughout this last year continuing to do therapy and mediation via Zoom for our students. We have a school nurse who we've continued to have on our staff, and she's a rock star in helping with technology needs, but also she still is calling families and checking in on our kids' health needs. We have college counselors and some persistence counselors who not only are still helping our high school students go through the college application process via Zoom, but are checking in on our alumni and seeing every week what do our alumni need to make sure that this really unprecedented year doesn't impact their decision to continue to pursue college or not. We want everyone to still feel like they have the resources they need to be at their best. So I've just seen our staff step up in some like really special ways to make sure it's not just about the academic learning every day. It's like the emotional, physical, psychological needs that we all have during this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that the recognition that there are several kind of elements to what the student experience was for the last year, right? So there's kind of this two-part thing for us, as we're exploring careers and jobs. Like, are am I a good fit for Kauffman, and is Kauffman a good fit for me, right? And
I say
so
that phrase all the time.
yeah. So, my question then is why, or what kind of teacher should consider Kauffman, or why should one of our community members consider coming to Kauffman? What would make Kauffman a good fit for me?
Yeah. So I've mentioned this class of alumni, and I'm going to go back to them because they truly are shaping who we are as people. I think someone who really thrives on our team is an educator who's reflective of their practices, their instructional practices, their classroom culture practices, who they are as individuals. Right now, we're getting a lot of input and feedback from our alumni about how we as a school set them up to be successful post graduation, and places that we need to change and grow as a school to better set up the next class of kids that's graduating. And so right now we're just ever changing as a network. We're updating, we're adapting, we're flexing, We're making different curriculum decisions. We're changing some of our school culture pieces, traditions, rituals, even the like clubs and activities we offer, like continue to grow and change every year. And I think that folks who join our team and embrace the opportunity to grow and reflect and change um, really are people who thrive at our school. I think secondly, like the sub bullet of that is because of that receptiveness to that input and feedback of what we're doing well and what we need to shift, being someone who's like thirsty to hear that and act on it is something we see like our best educators live out. I think about how, you know, right now in our 7th and 8th grade, like ELA team, if we're making decisions about is that text or that book really the best for us to teach to students? We've done it for a couple of years, but maybe we need to change it and add a different unit next year. Someone who's like really open to that thought process and being critical of that kind of feedback and input really thrives at our school.
That's awesome. And reflection is so important. Feedback, all the things, right? Now, on the opposite end, what kind of educator? I guess you kind of answered that, right? But like,
Can I
yeah, yeah,
I did. It actually made me think of one other thing, Susanna, if I can jump in. Um, I think at the heart of all of our educators' like journey and desire to be at our school is also having just an unwavering belief that Black and Brown students coming from the zip codes that we serve in Kansas City have this amazing list of passions, interest, abilities, goals for their future, and having educators that show up every day and believe you have so much potential. My job every day is to make sure you feel supported, encouraged, and nurtured as a student, and to prove that it is possible to see kids from our community um, go to and through college. And so I think educators, part of our interview process and part of what I ask everyone in their interview is what is your experience working either in high needs communities or with low income communities, and or working with Black and Brown students, and or working across lines of difference, right? Because I think white educators in this work especially have to be ready and mindful to be reflective about what they bring to the work and potential biases and like misconceptions that like we have to break down every day as white allies to our kids and families. So if someone gets on the phone with me, that is like one of the first things we talk about is like, tell me why Kauffman, but why do you want to continue to do work in urban ed in Kansas City? Because if you aren't unapologetic and passionate about that, our kids deserve to have that kind of teacher. I jumped in. Thanks for letting me add that.
no, absolutely. And it answers part of the next question, right? And something that I know as a teacher, is that kids will notice, right? Kids will notice when
Yep.
we're hiding parts of ourselves that are difficult, and it's okay to say, there's bias, and we all have bias and implicit bias and all the things. And so I appreciate you naming that. Now, the next part's kind of logistical, right? What kind of positions are super needed to be filled maybe right now or in the summer or for August or for next school year? What positions are open?
Yeah, it is logistical, but I'm still going to try to make it inspiring because I think it is. Um, you and I talking about understanding the individual identity that educators bring to the work. I'm really proud to work on a team where every year, like, I go to bed and wake up thinking about our kids deserve to have educators that look like them in front of them. And again, especially as a white woman, I always want to lead with that because I know I can be an ally to my kids, but I do not share the same lived experiences of them as um, Black and brown kiddos growing up in KC as middle school and high schoolers. That was not my experience. And so, yes, we have roles open to be teachers at our school. And yes, we, you know, continue to prioritize the racial diversity of our teaching staff. But the place that we are really growing as an organization is we not only want to see teachers reflect our kids, but the instructional leaders of our schools, our instructional coaches, assistant principals, principals. And so, a role that we have posted on our website that I really want to share is called the Instructional Leader Fellow. And when a teacher comes to me and says, you know what, I've been teaching for a couple years, I love what I do, but I could see myself being an instructional coach or an AP or a principal. I don't know if I want to go back to school for it right now. I don't know if I have the funds to go back to school for it right now or the time, but I want to learn how to do that kind of leadership. We want to meet those folks. And especially if that individual is an educator of color who says, I've been teaching, I want kids to see me leading, and I want to be in a position, an administrative position at a school, because I think kids deserve to see that. The ILF is a pathway to that kind of school leadership. And in an interview process, of course, we talk a lot about what are your strengths as a teacher? What are the areas you see yourself growing? But we really start to identify what would be your path of development if you were to come to our school. And that's been really exciting to see. Those are all posted on our website, Susanna. So all those roles are
That's my next
active.
question, Candace, is how this great program that you're mentioning, how can someone apply?
Yeah. Everything's on our website. All of our roles that are posted, we are actively reviewing applications. We being me and my talent partner, Melissa Sprockle. We do a series of setting up phone interviews. Usually in an application process, you do some sort of performance task, and then we have a final interview stage. So I really encourage anyone to look at those roles.
That is so exciting. You heard it, LEC community. If something caught your eye or caught your ear about what Candace mentioned, make sure to go over to their website. What is the website, Candace?
www.kauffmanschool.org. We also are on Facebook. And I'm not sure if you're going to link or tag us in Facebook post today, but you can get to our page from there.
Yeah, that's absolutely something we can make happen. Candace, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Yeah.
Everyone, hopefully you heard something great that you enjoyed from Candace and about Kauffman Schools. Candace, let's keep in touch. I'll see
Yeah, I
you
was going to
soon.
say, I hope to see you in person eventually when we get to start mingling and safely doing educator events.
Seriously. I mean, hopefully very soon, hopefully this
Yes.
summer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Candace, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Have a
Have a good rest of
good
your
rest
Friday.
of your Friday.
Bye.
Well, now I'm on mute, so hold on. All right, LEC community. You heard from Candace Wilson over at Kauffman Schools. www.kauffmanschools.org is their website. As I've mentioned a couple times this morning, we at the LEC want to make sure that we are providing for you programming and opportunities that you find useful. Is that the word I want to use? I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but point is, we are open and welcoming to your feedback. leckc.org/survey. You will see this link several times today because as the VP of Educator Supports of the Latinx Education Collaborative, it is important for me that I know how to support you as educators and I know how to support our school systems. So coming up at 10:30 a.m., we are rolling this morning, is Kansas City Girls Preparatory Academy. Tara Haskins, the principal there, will be with us this morning. And so we will be back after a short pause, 10:30 a.m. Make sure not to miss it. We will be here with Kansas City Preparatory Academy. See you soon.